I suppose it's time we address clades besides exoanimals, and there's no better way to do so than to talk about the first large plants to emerge on Reccembra. Two large groups of multicellular autotrophic organisms emerged on Reccembra during the last period, the Proteocene. These were the discophytes on the ocean surface, and the coralliforms in the depths. As they have grown larger, they have both had to develop some novel adaptations to survive. One of these adaptations is the presence of roots, something seen in these new discophytes, called root jellies. Root jellies are the descendants of jelly plants, which still exist and cover much of Reccembra's shores. These special jelly plants, however, are found in deeper areas where the constant crashing of the waves would usually turn their photosynthetic discs over and drag them into the waters. To achieve stability despite these adverse conditions, root jellies have extended their nutrient-acquiring roots to make them touch the ground, firmly attaching the discophyte in place. There are two kinds of root jellies, monorhizal and polyrhizal. Polyrhizal root jellies are the more basal kind, which still retains its original ring of long roots sprouting from the edges of its photosynthetic disc, while monorhizal root jellies have fused their root ring into a single branching stem emerging from the middle of their disc. A problem posed by their new roots, however, was the distance between their disc and the surface, which reduced the amount of sunlight they could capture. To solve this, their disc grew larger, but this posed a new problem. Larger discs were more prone to being damaged. This is why most root jellies have softer photosynthetic discs compared to typical jelly plants. While their surface cousins have hard and inflexible discs, made to survive being exposed to the air, underwater root jellies have discs flexible enough to simply bend upon impact instead of breaking off. These new discs also stop growing after some time, unlike those of surface jelly plants. On the other side of the oceans, we have stone corals. They are coralliforms, the second autotrophic clade of Reccembra. Being chemosynthetic, the coralliform body plan is vastly different to that of jelly plants, also favoring surface area but for a whole different purpose. Stone corals are a kind of coralliform called a fan tree, one of the largest clade of coralliform, which can grow to the height of small earth bushes. Like most coralliforms, stone corals are covered in feather-like bristles through which they absorb dissolved chemicals, both those they need to keep growing and those which break the first one down during chemosynthesis. Stone corals, however, had to sacrifice some of the bristles on their lower trunk for a new sturdy shell composed of minerals they secrete from their skin. This was not necessary before, but now, exoanimals have made their way into the abyss, and for the first time ever, coralliforms have not just competition, but actual predators. While fast-growing hairy grasses and other small coralliforms quickly adapted to reproducing faster than they could be eaten, larger clades such as fan trees had to innovate in other ways. And for now, this mineralized shell seems to keep most sucker descendants at bay. For how long though, only time will tell.